And we are live.
Boom, 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 boom. Boop. All right. Welcome back to Pull the Pin Podcast. I made some money. Actually, I broke even.
You broke even. I lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a good start to the year.
Poor Tommy.
I think we can find the quote from me last week where I was like, "This is a great week to make money. We should attack. We will make a lot of money this week." We went like net negative, whatever.
I think if Joe Burrow played golf, I think he would have made money.
So I think we got to start with the TOC, right? We got to go to the Tournament of Champions right out the gate.
Absolutely.
New PGA scoring record. Cam Smith rocking out that 34 under. It was kind of crazy. I gotta say, I think the most impressive thing with him was the number one player in the world breathing down his neck for 3 days, and he never showed it. The only time I saw anything that even resembled cracking was on 18 on Saturday when the phone rang in the background when he was about to hit his birdie putt, and he had to step back and then.
Which is totally out of his control.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
But I mean, the putt he hit on 18 was just so ho hum on Sunday to win it. I mean, it was just like, okay, boop, and
Just right in.
right in it went. I'm officially becoming a Twitter nutcase. We got lots of new friends on Twitter, 100 new followers in the last 2 weeks, up to 250.
There you go.
So trying to keep that train going.
Did you tweet the link out for our podcast?
Always.
Good man.
Always. And the Spotify link will be up as soon as the show is over. Well, not as soon as the show is over, about an hour after I go home and have to upload it and like put a little music to it, maybe edit out me talking about my penis.
No.
Oh, wait, I didn't do that last week, did I?
No, you didn't.
3 times in a row.
God
Anyway.
Damn it. Anyway, your guys' thoughts on the TOC. Matt, let's start with you, the guy.
I loved it. I love watching guys go low because it's something I know I will never, ever do in my life. So I think it's awesome watching them shoot like a million under par. Like people say, oh, it's bad for the game, whatever. It's too easy for them. No, that's awesome. That's awesome because you know that like 99% of golfers, if they went out there and tried to do the same thing, they would probably cry.
So let's before we go to Tommy, let's talk about that a little bit, right? So on Twitter, there were a bunch of people bashing it, saying, it's like this isn't good for the game. The scoring is out of control. Let's take into consideration the first 2 days were lift, clean, and place, right? It didn't change much once they took that away on Saturday and Sunday. Don't get me wrong; the 2 course records were set, those days without lift, clean, and place. But that's a 7,600 yard course that plays like a
7,800. 7,800.
It was 7,690 is what kept popping.
So 77.
So about 77, but somewhere between there,
Yeah.
right? Depending on the day, the pin placements, whatever.
Right.
But it played like a 6,900 yard course with the undulation, and so it's the type of course that's relying on the elements. So we're looking at a course right here where there's never an even lie. I mean, apparently Home Depot in the town like sold out of levels because everybody was out there like with levels on the fairways, and it's like Home Depot was like, yeah, we're making money. Nobody ever buys stuff because it's Hawaii.
Yeah.
But
Why is there a Home Depot there?
I don't know. Anyway, I might just be talking out of my ass. Who knows? So I have no problem with it. I love the fact that's one of the cool things about golf, right? Like, it's one of the things that makes it different than every other sport. So, like, if I play baseball and I play at Fenway Park or I play at Wrigley Field or I play at Citizens Bank Ballpark, the bases are still 90 feet apart. The mound is still 60 feet away from me. And the guys playing against me are still going to throw the ball the same way. And maybe I hit that day, maybe I don't, right? But you go to a course like Kapalua and the setting is perfect for you to go low. No wind, nothing, right? So those variables can change, though, right? Like if a storm was coming through, we're going to look at a completely different 4 rounds.
I mean, imagine in-your-face wind on 17 and 18 there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? In-your-face wind where it's so soft somehow. I mean, like, you're talking about almost 700-yard par 5 to close where if you can only hit 250 off the tee, you go 250, 250, 180, But, I mean, there's a lot of arguments, like you said, that it's boring golf, and I don't agree.
No,
and I don't agree
agree
because I don't think high scoring or low scoring is better. Good golf is good golf.
Yes.
If you want them to not score 34 under, right? Don't play it at Kapalua. This was not. It's not a surprise that they came out and took advantage of a golf course. Like even if there wasn't the clean place first day, even if there was a little wind. I mean, there have been years where 30 is. You're basically shooting 28 or better to win this tournament. Like,
well, Ernie Els shot 31.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not the first time
it's happened. Surprised that.
Well, and it's a resort course.
And it's also
okay. So
we talked about this too. It's one of those. This is not meant to be a grinded out tournament. I mean, this is a reward for hey, you won last year. Here's a little free FedEx Cup points. Here's a little free money. Like entertain us in the middle of January.
Right.
Like this is not the Masters, so I don't understand why people are so upset.
Yeah. Well, it's also that situation that it is a resort course. Okay, so it's a course that regular people can play. Okay, so I look at it like we talk about it all the time. They were talking about it on the No Laying Up podcast last night, where like we often talk about like, oh, I wonder what Cam Smith would shoot if he went over to Overland.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's similar to what's going on here. Okay, like the fact that they make it look as short as it is means that it plays short, guys. Like it plays like 6,800 yards. So that's a longer course around here if it played 6,800 yards, but it's still not something that is out of the realm of possibility for us to play.
But at the same time, here's my whole thing is you guys are very good golfers. 3 handicap, scratch if not, plus handicapper. If I said go play Kapalua right now, there's absolutely no way either of you are shooting anywhere near 34 under.
Oh, God, no.
I don't even know if you guys would shoot 10 under.
But see, there's a perfect example.
I don't think I necessarily shoot under at all, but I'm just saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Where the discrepancy
boring
between
golf,
what a tour golfer and a scratch golfer really is. But I mean, and people just don't understand that. But here's my question: is like, okay, it's an easy golf course. It's soft. So you're telling me you would have preferred a bunch of really bad approach shots where they were struck? Like, there's nothing about that course. Like, if they didn't shoot at least 25 under, it would have been bad golf. I feel like poor approach shots. They would have had really long birdie putts, so tapping pars. Like, it's not like the only bogey I saw John Rahm make. He had a lost ball, and he still made a 3 for 5. Like, you know. So
I do want to add to just real quick. What was it Shinnecock when the announcers were talking about the course is out of hand, like they lost control of the golf course?
Yeah.
Somebody said
yes,
it. And I got to be honest, I did not like watching that very much. Like watching dudes not be able to hold the green, not because they hit a bad shot, but because the course is playing so stupid that they can't do it. That's not fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I consistently say on this podcast that the U.S. Open is the worst major, but for that very reason.
I personally think that it has a lot to do with the perspective you actually get from the people who are making these proclamations that it's bad golf, it's boring golf. Those people aren't good at golf.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's pretty simple. Like those are the type of people who sit in their living room and think, well, if I practiced every day for the next 20 years, maybe I'd be good enough to play. No, these guys are that fucking good. Like it's just not even close. Like there's Phil Mickelson put it best on Thursday when he got done with his round and they were like, so how's it feel to be back here for the first time in like 20 years? And he's like, I mean, I feel like I got a lot of good golf in me, but my God, I'm tired. It's the hardest walk in golf. And like on Sunday, they showed him hit a tee shot on 18. And I mean, literally no bottom half. It was just, okay. And just the arms come through the ball. And it's like, there's a guy who's 50 years old, came down here to walk the course. And it's like, if you think that was easy, just go walk that course.
Mm-hmm.
That course is an insane walk. Like, so I just, these people on Twitter who are saying it's boring golf just need to go fuck themselves and stop watching
warriors.
And I think there's a lot of jealousy there that they're like,
exactly.
They're like, oh, this is boring because I can't do this. It's like, all right, well, that's why you're not on TV, Jack. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know.
So okay, let's talk a little bit about the scoring though. So Cam Smith, 34 under. John Rahm, who is affectionately being called the buoy these days because you just can't sink the man. You know who John Rahm is right now? He's me in fantasy football. He outscores every player in the league, but every week he runs into a guy having a career high.
Yeah.
That's a great way to pat another person on the back while also patting yourself directly on the back as well. Well done.
2 fantasy leagues this year. I scored more points than everybody else in the league and finished 4th in both of them. Because every week I ran into somebody who
play better. I don't know.
Yeah, don't like it. Do better.
Play better. Well, then tell John Rahm that. So
that sounds like my dad and I's our fantasy baseball league. We outscored our opponents by like 800 points this year and finished second.
Exactly.
It definitely sucks. Like John Rahm does not probably look at this weekend as a success because he didn't win, but he probably just made $500,000.
No, I will disagree with you because he has made it very, very clear the number one spot is very important to him, and he had to finish solo second or win to maintain that number one position this weekend. Okay. If he would have finished outside of the top two, Colin Morikawa would have taken over.
Okay, well,
by the way, Colin Morikawa finished, or you're saying no matter if Colin Morikawa hadn't played this week?
I don't know if the stats run that way, but he had to finish in the top two to maintain the number one.
Okay,
that was the big thing.
But even if that continues to be a trend where that John Rahm played out of his mind, got third, got second, whatever, like. Keeps that up and then
wins. He's
going to win the FedEx Cup this year.
Yeah. And he's going to get his wins. Okay. Like anybody who was selling on John Rahm coming into this year because they thought there's no way you can do that back-to-back years unless you're Tiger Woods. Like he just shut them up right there. Like,
he's been statistically the best player since like 2017. Like it's just the no laying out guys we're talking about it. He's been consistently the best player over the last however many years. And it's really not close.
And Tommy and I were talking about this. I'm not a huge Rahm fan. Okay, like I respect the hell out of his game, right? I don't know what it is. Like, some guys just you like and some guys you don't. And he's just not a guy that I relate to, right? Like, so like I'm a Spieth guy. Like I relate to Spieth because he's relatable, right? He's out there with a new like pre-swing routine and looking all janky and changed his swing. He still played okay this week. I'm a JT guy. I'm like, I'm just not a Rahm guy. The beard kills me.
I have to go on my 2-minute Rahm tangent for about this weekend though.
All right,
I've been saying it to you for 3 days now.
Oh,
the fact that no one's been talking about it. Justin Thomas went out and shot 61, which is the course record.
Yep.
John Rahm goes out later that day and shoots 61 with a lost ball. And no one is talking about it.
Everyone's talking about it.
Not enough.
It's everywhere.
No.
It's everywhere. Everything I've watched or listened to talked about his lone bogey of the weekend, the lost ball. They've also talked about how he's lucky that they found the ball a little too late. They had already gotten the provisional. Like, it is being talked about. It's amazing. I'm not disagreeing with you, but like it's getting talked about.
But my bigger thing is if he hits his provisional first, he shoots 59.
Yep.
He shoots 59, 14 under.
Yep.
Par 73. That is just blows my mind that was even in the realm of possibility. If someone was good, like 59 at any course, even a par 70, people freaking out. He'd be shooting 59 at par 73, and he tied JT, essentially giving him a 2-stroke advantage.
Let's talk about that, though. Should that course be a par 73? There are par 5s on that course that could be long par 4s.
Yeah, I don't know about par 73. That's when I saw 61 and 61 from both of them. I was like, that's 12 under par. Wait, why isn't it? Right. It is a par 73. I was like, oh, maybe not.
So, I think one of the par 5s could be dialed down to a par 4.
There's only 3 par 3s, so that's part of it. That's part of the reason why. Yeah. I think that's the bigger thing. But you think about the par 5s.
They're par. Is it okay? I'm going to get this wrong. I think it's hole 5. Executive producer, I need your help here. I think it's hole 5 is a par 5 that on Saturday scored under 4. The average score was under 4 on Saturday.
Okay, that's probably the only one though. That's probably the only one though, because 9 is over 500 yards straight up that hill. JT made a 7 on it.
So you want to know what now? What's the?
If you can find out what the scoring average for hole 5 was, I think it's the 5th hole par 5.
You can't make 18 a par 4.
No, and I'm not saying, but hole 5.
Probably par 5. Probably number 5 is the only one you change.
Or I think it was
a hole as a par 3.
I think it was almost under 4 for the weekend for its scoring average. I think it was like a 4.09, which is absurd for a par 5. Like that's nuts. So it just becomes a really difficult par 5. That's all I'm saying. I'm looking at you're still going to see guys have great numbers.
What round were you looking at that it was playing under 4?
I think it was Saturday. It might have been Friday. I don't know.
I'm going to look.
It is hole 5 though, right?
I think. Yeah, let's see.
And here's one of my things though with that is, does it matter?
No,
because I mean,
so Saturday,
whether you call it a par 4 or a par 5, the guy's still going to play the same length. They're still going to score the same. All it's going to change is how many under or over they are. But it has.
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
A par 5 that should be a par 4, right? If the scoring average is that low,
yeah,
I just don't.
I agree. It just really doesn't matter. I think people freak out too much about that sometimes. Like, oh, that's such an easy par 5. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like,
it's not freaking out. It's that it changes the overall number, right? So like if everybody's bitching and moaning about, oh, the scores are too low, well, at least try to.
I'm not saying that you're freaking out about it. I'm saying that I've played with guys who are like, that hole is way too hard. It shouldn't be a par 4. It's like, okay, it's a par 5 now. He's still shot. It's going to be a 6. Like it doesn't matter what you call it. You can call a hole a par 17 if you want, but it doesn't. It's just still.
You're just arguing to argue right now.
No, I've actually thought about this before.
Because I mean I don't care one way or the other. I'm just bringing a.
This is just a topic I've thought of before, so just something I'm bringing up.
All right. Anything else we're going to talk about?
I can't find this.
Okay.
They don't have the statistics for 2021 yet.
His,
or 22.
His Google stats.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Improve my Google stats.
Google work. Yeah.
Well, that's a shame.
Well, here's my other question from this weekend: is should there be live clean in place at all? PGA?
Yes.
So I'm conflicted about this. From what I heard about the course on Thursday and Friday was, and obviously we're not there. We're not. Maybe someday the podcast will be big enough that we get to travel to all sorts of different destinations.
Right.
But right now we're watching it on TV like everybody else. But from what I understand, it was a goddamn mess. Right. So like Hawaii had snow this year for the first time in like ever.
Yeah.
You know, so like they're really struggling, and especially since the renovation a couple of years ago, they've had trouble with drainage. So I agree. I think you got to have a clean place. Now, I believe that after Thursday, seeing the scores that came in on Thursday, that's when you say, no, we don't need to do this on Friday.
Yeah.
Like,
by the way, you are incorrect about that. I'm improving my Googling skills already.
Good.
Hawaii gets snow almost every year.
Every year?
Almost every year.
Well, I mean, how often do you hear about it, though?
Yeah.
Never.
You assume that it doesn't.
You just assume.
Because I don't believe it was just snow this year.
You know what happens when you assume things, Ty?
Makes an ass out of you and me. But I believe they got somewhat of a blizzard this year.
They did.
Yeah.
So where was the lift clean in place?
Yeah.
I think after Thursday, you say, no, never mind.
Yeah.
Like everybody just went the hell off. Like, no.
See, yeah, my thing is like every time I play like a member or a member guest, right? And I feel like every year there's one of those tournaments that they have to have lift clean in place because it's wet, and they don't want to hear the 10 handicaps to freak out or whatever. Or sorry, not 10 handicaps. The guys in the 10th flight to freak out or whatever. You know, that Jim comes on the announcement. It's like, hey, we're playing lift clean and cheat today. You know, because I mean, you're wiping it off. You'll never have a bad lie. You know,
right? No mud balls.
Especially when we play like lift clean place everywhere. You know,
right? But you guys also said it earlier in the podcast that the 61s didn't come on Thursday or Friday.
Right.
They came on a normal day. So
I would argue,
playing it down.
I would argue that the overall scoring, I don't know this as a fact, didn't go down though. I think that you saw those two guys and JT move up the board, and you saw Smith and Rahm run away, but I don't think necessarily the scoring as a whole improved.
I think it stayed pretty consistent. I mean, if you just look at the numbers, I don't think it changed much. So
I'd love to see that. I would love to see a difference, like the weekday scoring versus.
Well, you can look that up. Just look up averages for.
I mean, I remember it was a hole number 12.
I think the overall average was 67 or something.
It was a short par 4.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
A little up the hill, but drivable. And a lot of guys who couldn't quite carry that front would roll down to the front, and then they get to pick up their ball, wipe it off, put it on a nice piece of grass, and you'd see them either chip in or knock it to like an inch. Yep. And the announcers are like, "Well, that's what you get when you get lift clean in place," like you know. Yep. But I mean,
no, I don't have a problem with it though. Right. I really don't.
But then when you have those guys who are like scoring's too low, it's like, okay, well then go like what if on Thursday they didn't put lift clean in place and like a hunk of mud on the side of the wall, and like then balls start flying everywhere. Do you enjoy that more because the pros are struggling? Like I don't understand.
I think that's part of their complaint. I think that's a sad fact in our culture today. People would rather watch people struggle than succeed, and that's just a sad thing to begin with. But I stick with my take on it is Thursday you see those scores come in. And then on Friday, you go, hey, we're gonna play it straight. It might still be a little soft. You might get a couple of mud balls, but That's just the way it's going to be. Because I'll tell you one thing I did not hear, and I watched a lot of golf on Saturday and Sunday. I did not hear one time about a mud ball.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I believe there's a place for lift clean in place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I said, I couldn't be there. I just heard it was bad.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I would like to talk about the fact that a couple of guys, like we talk about that tournament as a low-scoring tournament, right? And we're starting to get close to, we need to move on. But some guys that we always like kind of rag going into tournaments like that, like Kevin Kisner is a perfect example. Where like I don't know if he's long enough to compete in that tournament. He competed. In fact, he fucked me because I was really excited about betting him this week, and his odds are not going to be nearly as nice, as beneficial to me after the performance he put on.
Of course,
and you know that's awesome. Like I'm happy for a guy like Kevin Kisner because we're big fans. But like, I was just fascinated at the fact that guys like that were able to throw up some big scores when we always talk about them not being able to hang in tournaments like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, Cam Smith's not a bomber. He's not short.
So his swing speed was, or his it's like 170 ball speed was much higher. So he was 85th last year in driving distance, and was just head and shoulders above that this past week.
That's good for him.
He definitely added some distance over the
Matt, one of the things you said is going to come up for one of my picks later about distance. Someone who played well last week.
Yeah.
That I didn't think would play well because of that very reason. Now we're going to a shorter course in similar conditions, and I'm very excited.
All right, Matt, I'm going to ask you, since you've got the Google Doc up, to introduce Wiley and the.
One night nights. Okay.
To introduce Wiley and the Sony Open. I've got some stats written down there. I forgot to print that part out. I printed out.
No, that's all right. So, Wiley, it's 7,060 yards according to the card, which is a par 70. So we're going from a par 73 to a par 70. 59 watch, here we come. 4 par 3s, 2 par 5s, and the rest being par 4s. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what I got here.
All right, we got some past winners on there. Last year's winner was Kevin Na.
Yep.
Before that, would we have Cam Smith? Yep. And then it was Mcazar. No, it was Justin Thomas, then Mcazar.
It was Kuchar, Mcazar, Thomas.
Got it. All right. Moving into this tournament, I mean, there are people joking about 57s. They're saying the conditions are going to be very similar. Don't know if we'll see lift clean in place. That'll be interesting. Not near the elevation changes on this course. It's a much flatter course. And I have the field at like a B. I had B- on the Google Doc. I moved it up to a B. DeChambeau's playing. There's more top 50 players playing than I expected. I think I've got top 50s. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 17 or 18 on a quick count with having to change page. So, you've got some top 50 guys there. You don't have, at least according to PGAtour.com, you don't have Justin Thomas or any of those guys. And I know some people were talking about him coming out and really firing. We didn't really talk about JT at the TOC. I still think he's primed for a big year, by the way. I think Thursday was tough. He got out the gate rough with bad putting, and his putting was really bad the first day. He's a guy that I love once they get back England with bent grass off of Bermuda, and I think he might really tear it up. But anyway,
he did do exactly what we said he was going to do, though. Liable to go out and shoot something stupid. Did shoot a 61, just too far behind.
Yeah. What are you thinking here at YY?
All right. Well, so I'm going to use my trackman knowledge here. One of the courses that's available to us is this course. And there's a lot of similarities between this and last week.
Mm-hmm.
All the differences leading to even lower scoring. So if you didn't like last week, you're not going to like this week because you got about somewhere between 600 and 800 yards shorter, or 500 and 700 yards shorter, whatever. But it's still not difficult off the tee.
Yep.
It is wide open.
It's a bit narrower.
But it's still not tight.
No, it's not tight, but it is a bit narrow. Driving accuracy is one of the things that they really point out for picks. They think that you need to be in better positions.
Yes, but you don't necessarily have to hit driver off all the tees either. No. So for me, it's kind of come down to who has the best wedge play. Because almost every hole, whether it's gettable par fives, like you were saying to us before the show,
easiest par fives on tour.
I don't remember anything about the par threes, but par four, it could be a lot of 4-iron, 56 degree, or driver less than full lob wedge. So whoever is going to come out and get the most stroke gained approach, which are going to come down mostly wedges, probably 9-iron and less, is going to win the tournament.
Yep. So last year it was Kevin Na, who obviously can roll the rock.
21 under.
21 under, yep. He can roll the rock and is as consistent an iron player as anybody. He gets a little wayward off the tee from time to time, but he's one of those guys we talk about that's not overly long. That's not going to hurt him here. Matt, any thoughts before we go into some betting talk?
No, I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say.
All right. So last week we didn't really go over the betting model as well as we usually do. And I think it's something we really need to do this week in case we have some people watching and trying to make some money. So I make an absurd amount of bets. I spent $90 last week. That's how many bets I make. They're usually $1 or $2. I call them gold rings if you follow our Facebook page. Each gold ring is $2. Okay. So I didn't list every bet I made on the Facebook site. I bet on Cam Smith. It was a break-even pick. So the chalk picks I usually do break-even because you have to bet more money on them to make more money, right? So Cam Smith was a $5 bet that paid out at $92. So I'm up $2.
Okay. In the positive.
But I'm up a gold coin or a gold ring. So
I am not. I am down 80 gold rings.
So I made, I think, if I remember correctly, 23 bets last week. So there's 38 players in the field. That means I bet on 23 people to win. I had one top 5 that I made just because I was feeling frisky.
And you got it right. Nailed it.
Yeah. The other part of it is now that we're into a full field, a big field, okay, players are going to get cut, stuff like that. 22 bets is on the low side for me. So I'll probably throw a little bit more money in, and I'll probably bet close to 120 this week and make between 25 and 35 bets with a couple of top 5s and top 10s mixed in.
Yeah.
The goal is to pick a winner. Okay. Winners are what's going to pay and keep you even. So my chalk picks are always winners. I'm never going to take John Rahm for a top 5. I'm just not. It's not worth it. I'm going to take him for a winner pick, and it's going to cover the amount that I've spent. So if it's $120, I'm going to bet on him to make at least $120.
I don't know about you, but I don't really look at the top 5 or top 10. Well, at least the top 5, unless it's at least plus 1,000.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. So, for instance, this week I have a couple of picks on here that I can already tell you that Matt and Tommy are both going to go, who the fuck is that?
We love it.
I already saw one. And I already
fucking love it.
And
talk to me, Uncle Ty.
Got it. And those are the picks that we're looking to make some money on. You might be able to go top 5, top 10, and winner. And I mean, if it happens, you're going to make $1,000, right? So that's what we start to look at as we start to move forward here. I'm going to just jump through my list here pretty quick.
Okay.
If you guys want to stop or talk about a certain guy, just throw your hand up in the air and say, shut the fuck up, Uncle Ty. So
the usual.
Great. So we've got Corey Connors is the first guy on my list. 3 for 3 in cuts made for this tournament. Tied for 3rd in 2019. We love him on the show. If his putting is ever hot, he's going to win a tournament. Tommy likes Corey Connors a lot. I think this is a great tournament for him to get off the great start. He's plus 1,800 on the week, so he's one of the higher top seeds. But he is definitely a guy I will be betting this week.
Yeah, never going to argue with anybody ever taking Corey Connors because he can play anywhere.
Yep.
So
second guy on my list is Mark Leishman. Can I just point something out? There are so many good Aussies right now.
Yes.
At one point, 4 of the top 10 were Aussie last week.
It's insane. But I mean, I just like Leishman a lot. He's played in this tournament 12 times, made the cut all 12 times, 3 top 5s. a top 3 in 2000, or tied for 3rd in 2019, tied for 4th last year. He played well at the TOC, shooting 23 under, which was good for 10th.
He's had a good 8 month run that really hasn't gotten credit for. Yeah. But I mean, he won the better ball. He obviously played well last week, so
he's also plus 1,600. All of our all of our odds are off of DraftKings. Just so you know, now they're all subject to change. I got them on a Monday. Like there's a couple of guys who DraftKings doesn't even have listed that is on the.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Well, I mean, there's just like the top 50 guys that are here are all have low odds. Right, they're just. I'm
just surprised by that. That's all.
Right. So Cam Smith, obviously the favorite, but they didn't have Bryson on the list yet. He's at plus 800. Staying in Hawaii for another week. He's won this tournament in the past. You gotta bet him this week. If you don't, you're stupid because he came out and looks like a man unable to be stopped last.
He could break the code for this place because we were saying how you could hit 4 iron off all of these tees. Well, he's going to be the guy that's like, F that. I'm driving this par 4.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait, this was never meant to be a triangle par 4, but why not?
So his only other solo win.
That can also be the downfall.
Could backfire.
Sure, he's that guy though. I mean, he's very he just never looked frazzled, and maybe it's just that awesome mullet and mustache that just makes him so cool and calm under pressure. But he just never looked like anything was bothering him. Even the phone ringing on hole 18 on Saturday, he just stepped back whatever and hopped up and hit the putt and missed it. But
my only counterpoint to Bryson would be exactly what you're saying though. Cam Smith rolls the rock on these greens. He looks lost. I saw some ugly putts.
We haven't gotten to Bryson yet.
I thought we were talking about Bryson. That's what I was saying.
Sorry.
He could be trying to hit these greens.
I'm sorry. No, I was still on Cam Smith. We're not going to get to Bryson until the very end because he's an interesting. He's a conversation piece for this course, just because of the distance. Next guy on my list is Brendan Todd. He's just a guy. He's a guy that you like in a tournament like this. He's great at long par 4s.
That was one of my picks, you asshole.
He's off to a great start this season with a T11 at the Mayakoba and a T12 at the Fortinet. This could be a bright spot for him. You never know. He's the type of guy who wins this type of tournament. If you go back through past winners, like Pat and Mcazar are winning this tournament. So, I mean, you just never know. Next guy on here is Sheamus Power. Get ready. You're going to hear his name a lot this year from me. I like Sheamus Power's game. He played really well at the TOC last week in a stacked field. And now we're in a less stacked field where he could probably come out and do some damage. He's just trending the right way. I've got a bunch of notes written down here. He's 2 for 4 in cuts made in this tournament, but I think he took a big step this past year. Hi, Dan. He's great for our betting model because he's plus 4,000. You can throw some money on him. By the way, Brendan Todd is plus 8,000.
Would you say he's going to be this year's Will Zalatoris for us? Because we made a lot of money on Will Zalatoris early in the year.
I think he's better suited than Will Zalatoris because his game's complete. He's a better putter.
You don't remember those 3 months where no one knew who he was? We were just raking in
top fives. It was like Christmas and
what a time to be alive, honestly.
Next guy on my list, and you guys can get all sorts of mad at me about this, is Webb Simpson. He is plus 1,200. He's one of the higher ranked guys for the week. This is a make or break tournament for me with Webb Simpson. Okay, and this is why. He has hit that age. Okay, and I'm just not sure if he's still going to compete. I'm going to bet him this week, and maybe he comes out and he competes. But this is a big barometer for me going forward for this year because he loves this tournament. Okay, like last year he was T4 and solo 3rd the year before. So, he plays well here. So it's a good barometer for a guy who's in the top 50, but really didn't do much last year. He had a couple of top 10s. He just wasn't as consistent as he had been years past. So I'm anxious to see where he comes out.
And he really hasn't, last tournament I really remember him doing was when he started doing arm lock putting, which was he was one of the guys that started that revolution other than Matt Kuchar, and he won the Players, and that had to be at least 3 years ago now.
Something like that. Look up the last time Webb won.
I know he's done some. He's even had wins since then, but that was his last big tournament. Yeah. And then he had a year or two where he really lit it up with the arm lock. But
but really lit it up. I don't know that he won a ton. I think
I'm talking 1 or 2 other times.
Right.
But I was surprised that he's still in the top 20 in the world.
Is he still in the top 20?
Something like that, even top 50. Like,
I can tell you I haven't.
I forget. He was ranked much higher than I thought he would be.
He is.
He won the 2017, 2018. Why is it saying 17, 18 players?
Yeah.
Maybe he's not top 50 anymore. Oh, there he is, number 28.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's much higher than you would expect, considering he hasn't done much of
Yeah,
late.
no, it's been a few years. 2018, I think.
That wasn't his last win, I don't think, but the last...
No, his last win was the RBC Heritage.
Okay. And what was that, 2019, 2020?
The 2019-20 season, yep.
So, yeah.
So next guy on my list is Pat Mcazar. He won here in 2018. He has not been very good. He tied 7th last year. That's literally the only reason I'm mentioning him. He has sucked so far in this season. I didn't even write his stats on Pat Mcazar, but he is plus 10,000 and he has good course knowledge.
That's the opposite of the boop, because that is what he is.
Yeah, he's a.
There you go.
That was the sound of Ty's penis getting soft.
Oh man, the next guy on the list, Brendan Steele. He loves Wildeye. Tied 4 last year, solo 2 in 2020. The season so far has been a little up and down, but was T2 at the Zozo. I like him mid-level bet. He's plus 8,000, maybe a guy that you take for a top 5. Also like for a win, like throw a buck or two on him. Next guy is somebody that has a great memory of this course from last year, and that's Chris Kirk. He kept his PGA card last year playing in this tournament. Remember, he had to finish in like the top 5
and did it
to keep his PGA card, working off that medical exemption. And he also finished 2nd in 2014, 5th in 2013. Hasn't killed it so far this year, but he's worth $1 or $2 with the odds at plus 7,000.
Someone who's kind of cooled off. We were high on him last year, and then
well, he had a really good year. He had some top 10s, top 5s. Never really crushed the threshold though. Next guy on the list is Kevin Na. This tournament turned me into a Kevin Na fan, probably because he made me a boatload of cash. A boatload. I was betting off that money for months. He's not as good of a value pick this year at plus 2,500. Last year he was through the roof. I think he was like plus 8,000 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't realize he was the defending champion, but just going through it, he was one of the guys I circled and said he's going to win this week. I mean, because he's the exact person I was talking about. Didn't expect him to do much last week, unless you just.
I had a feeling that's what you were going to bring up.
But he goes out and he shot like what under 20 under for the weekend. 21 under. Yep. There's no reason if he doesn't have to bomb the driver, can just wedge and putt his way to a victory. I don't see any reason he can't defend.
I don't either. I like where your head's at. He looks good. He looked good in the QBC or the QBE. So I mean,
he just shot 21 under the TOC.
Yep, 21. Yep.
Hey, as long as that Toulon of his is intact, I have no mind putting $5 on him to win a golf tournament.
Next guy on my list is a Tommy favorite, Tommy's resident top 5 guy, Ryan Palmer. He's played in the event 15 times with 3 top 10s. His most recent was in 2020 with a T4. He hasn't played since the Houston Open, where he finished 26th. But I always have him I always like him for his odds. He's plus 8,000, so $1 goes a long way.
I liked him generally because he's like a guy that plays a lot and consistently finishes high, but he hasn't played in a while, so I don't.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get.
I don't know what I'm going to get, and he's not a dude that goes out and lights it up. So it's not like he's like, oh well, I'm kind of rusty, so I'm going to go out and shoot 61. Like
he's a guy that goes out and lights it up on Thursday and Friday. He's the guy that the weekend shows up, and you're just like,
he plays a really good 63 holes of golf, right?
Exactly. Well, we talk about
that on Sunday. Right?
There was like 2 times last year where Tommy was like, Ryan Palmer's my guy. If he wins, we're going Sizzler, baby. If Ryan,
we're going to Sizzler.
And both times he was like, I mean, last year's TOC he did it. He was he finished 3rd or 2nd, and just couldn't bring it home coming down the stretch. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right, Ryan Palmer. But
next guy on the list is Kevin the Kiz Kisner, the Georgia Bulldog. Go Dogs tonight. Fuck Alabama.
That probably won't happen.
I know. Anyway, he's coming off a hell of a performance at the TOC where he tied for 8th at 24 under. He has a definite option to win this week. His odds are not as good as they would have been if he would have played a little worse last week.
There's a rumor that Saban's actually going to take over the Lions, but he's bringing all his players with him. Sorry, Jared Goff.
Bryce Young's only like a sophomore, isn't he? We're getting into the wrong stuff.
Are we going alphabetical here, by the way? Is that what you're doing? You're going alphabetical?
No, I'm going off my list of people that I was.
Because I have someone I would like to add before you say his name, because I think you're going to say his name.
Oh, he's getting salty over there. All right, yeah. Who you got, nephew Matt?
Maverick McNeely.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah,
that's right.
I have him as a top 10, top 5,
I have him top 5, top 10. Maybe not a win, but he showed a lot of promise at Fortinet and Napa.
Yeah, Maverick McNeely was one of our guys the last third last year.
Yeah. So last year after the, I think it was the Pro-Am, was it Pebble Beach? Yeah, where he had the exemption. It's like his own course. He played really well. I might be mixing tournaments up, but I watched him play a lot. That's a great pick, Matt. I love it. I'm betting him win and top 5. His odds this week are. You jumped ahead of me. Dead air.
Well, I mean, Maverick McNeely is definitely a guy that's like on the uptick. Like
he's
absolutely
plus
he's
poised.
5,000. I think he's poised for a really good year. Maybe not W's everywhere, but I think he's going to have a lot.
No, but you're looking for
a guy
like that to be inside the top 25 a lot, right? Like that's the move. That's the progression. That was Sam Burns the last 2 years. He was a lot of top 25s, and then he was just.
Well, I would love a prop bet to that Maverick McNeely makes it to the Tour Championship.
Now here's
we should
his last 6
we should
finishes.
Email DraftKings.
His last 6 finishes before. So this is from September to November. His last start was the Houston Open. Solo second, cut T38, T25, T11, T19. Now cut in T38 doesn't look great, but I mean CJ Cup isn't a slouch tournament.
No, T38 some points, T38 some money. Yeah.
So, who thinks that Matt starts to show up with some more research? I have a feeling it's going to happen.
Shocking. He's going above and beyond his job.
He's starting to learn his way around that PGA Tour website that I like.
I actually have not looked at golfstats.com one time, and I should. I know. So by the way, just before you're not going to say his name because I don't see him even as T10, T25 really. Wesley Bryan. If you want to talk about nice two lawns and just a good dude overall,
nice two lawns.
That's Wesley Bryan. Yes. Yeah, no, that's.
Can we get this sound effect added?
No, not that one. We're gonna stop it with poop.
All right. So next on my list is Taylor Gooch. Played pretty well last week. 20 under. He's played as well as any golfer in the beginning of this season so far. I'm happy with plus 2,500 odds. The next name is probably one that it actually doesn't look that bad on the screen, Matt. If you don't want to put it on.
No, I'm not a fan of it. It's like
okay.
I don't want to say collapsed sun.
Collapsed sun.
Yes.
Well, someday we'll have a studio, right? Like, well, this will take off sooner or later. Somebody's got to like the fact that we make money every week.
Yeah. You got $2. Hey,
I made money.
Go for it.
Okay, next guy on my list is somebody that I'm waiting to hear Matt's reaction. He's on a phone right now.
Because Sawyer's showing me something here that Bryson DeChambeau has been forced to withdraw from the Sony Open.
Oh, really?
As of today.
Explain.
Due to wrist soreness.
Pussy.
His
nods.
His manager confirmed that. Thank you, buddy. Do you want to say something to the people at home?
He says, "I'm good."
A humble man, Sawyer.
Wow, so that's interesting info. DeChambeau out. That's a good. No, it's not because that is going to cause the odds to stay where they're at. So yes, I was really excited about him entering the tournament because he was going to be somewhere along the lines of.
I mean, the turf is so firm last weekend, though. I mean, it's no wonder he hurt his wrist.
So Joe's back again. Joe, I so much apologize for not being able to pronounce your last name, but here's the comment here. Great stuff as always, guys. High odds guy sitting at 80-1 is Pat Mcazar. Last year finished T7 with 4 rounds in the 60s. Long shot, but somehow you got to risk it for the biscuit.
Love it. I love it, man. I like Pat Mcazar a lot. I'm going to throw probably 5 on him just because it's nuts. The next guy, 5 on him. The next guy I've got here, I am throwing 5 on too because he is the best putter on Bermuda in the world, and his name is Denny McCarthy.
Okay.
Anyone?
I know the name, but why? How do you know that his putting is? You sound like Joe Buck.
He literally has stats for putting.
I understand that. Tim McCarver, knock it off.
No, don't ever call me Tim McCarthy.
I love that.
I'm just
Denny McCarthy. Tell me more.
So the 28-year-old has been trending in the right direction, making 5 out of his last 7 cuts. so far this year. And in the last 3 tournaments, he's gone T15, T11, T10. It's a long shot for sure, plus 8,000. But his problem has always been his iron play, and he's cleaned it up. Okay, he's always been ranked in the top 10 with putting stats. He's a phenomenal putter, and the putter has not gone away, and the irons have picked up. I love him on a shorter track. He's just a name out of nowhere that like nobody's going to pick, and the odds are pretty good at plus 8,000. But the fact that they're at plus 8,000 has everything and anything to do with him putting. That's it. Like he is just that good of a putter. So that's Denny McCarthy is my no-name pick of the week. The next pick on my list here is Russell Henley. Finished out the year with a couple of strong finishes, T7 at the Houston Open, T22 at the RSM. He played in this tournament 9 times, made the cut 6 with 1 top 10 and a win in 2013. He was T11 last year. He's plus 2,200. And then the last guy I have before I just hit my names without info, Matt Jones. Last week made me a believer, man.
Yeah,
Under 5 seconds from address to swing. They showed it on, I think it was on the Golf Channel. He walks up and like literally is there for less than 5 seconds before he swings. It's awesome. I love it.
Hey, I mean, I guess you can't get nervous if you're only over it that long, you know.
Right.
It's hard. You can't have too many swing thoughts.
Well, he looked poised last week.
Outside of his putt on 16, yes.
Fair, yeah, that was
weak, yeah.
But I mean, he didn't look like the spotlight was too big as he was trying to chase down 2 of the best players in the world. And I am saying Cam Smith is one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, top 25 guy, of course.
Exactly. So I really liked what he showed last week. Names to discuss that I have written here.
I got a couple here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I got a couple. One, I'm a believer. He had a double bogey on 17 that really cost me last week, but I'm a believer now in Garrett Cago. I think you got to take him, and maybe you still get top 5 odds on him even.
Yep. So right now, DraftKings has no odds on him. So he is on the field list, but I went to DraftKings. Like I wrote down all the odds.
To do with him.
What's that? Yeah, don't even know. So like he's not even listed on the sheet. So I'm almost positive he's playing because he's on the PGA Tour site.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, Gary Cago, all day, every day. You know me.
My blue chip pick, other than Kevin Na, who I think has a great chance to win, is Billy Horschel. And that takes so much. It hurts my soul.
Billy gonna sneak up on some butts today.
He's gonna win a golf tournament because it's so painful to watch. It's gonna make me so mad cheering for him. But
Tommy's gonna be drinking transfusions, trying to drown his sorrows of cheering for Billy Horschel.
He's a great wedge player.
He's a good player in general. I mean, he's not my favorite guy on tour. He comes off like such a douchebag, but like
I'm gonna root for him this week.
Yeah,
and there's another one.
He also has great odds this week. He's plus 4,500. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the dude, it just yeah. And then I'm gonna say something I never thought I would say on this podcast.
Here we go, everybody.
I believe in Sanjay in this week, and that is so painful.
So Sanjay's odds suck at plus 1,600.
But
I'm with you. If he putts at all, he didn't putt this past week.
He still finished top 10.
I know, and he didn't putt. So I mean, I'm with you. I like Sanjay this week.
I mean, yeah, but if he also hits it to 3 feet every time, it doesn't matter because no tour pro sucks at 3 feet.
Right.
And then I got my Tom Tiny outlandish pick of the week. And we're in an off. Oh, you know what's coming.
If it's Troy Merritt, I'm fine.
No, it's not. All right, it's a small field.
It's not a small.
All right, it's a weaker field. It's not quite B-side.
Aaron Badley's not in the tournament.
I know. But it's a weaker field, and it's gettable, and it's for ball strikers. And Kevin Chappell is playing in this tournament. And I'm going to put $5 on Kevin Chappell to win this tournament this week. Oh. And the lights out. And I destroyed it.
Tommy's pick was so outlandish it blew out a light bulb.
Wait, I want to repeat this for Matt now that he's back.
It's like something out of The Natural.
I want to repeat this to Matt. I literally my pick just turned that light off above us.
No,
it's a weaker field. It's a scoreable course. It's a ball strikers course. And Kevin Chappell is in the field, and I have him to win. as one of my winners for this week.
Now, I just want to say, and I don't think he got in as an alternate yet. That hasn't been announced. Besides, I saw Jim Canoes, because he's a follow of mine. He's in as an alternate. Camilo Villegas is on the alternate list.
Tommy is renowned for betting on Villegas.
One time. Just one time.
No, it was twice last
Twice,
year.
and he won me one of the 2 times. So I bet him top 5. Because he needed to get top 5, and he did to keep his card.
You ran down a couple of names. I'm going to run down a couple more. Charles Howell III, 20 appearances in this tournament, 10 top 10s, has never missed the cut at plus 5,000. He never wins, guys. He never wins. He's going to win this week.
Oh, my God. Well,
I don't know.
His odds are probably like plus 5,000 to win, like minus 110 to get the top 10.
He has the most course knowledge here, so that's why I put him on there. He's definitely worth throwing a couple bucks on.
Camilo Villegas is in the field, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we know who Matt's betting on.
The Spider.
Absolutely not. I would rather spend money on nothing. So, literally, I would rather hand you a $1 bill right now. I'm gonna throw a couple of really outlandish picks that I like. That I'm gonna like $1 goes a really long way on all of these.
Okay.
So Emiliano Gritto, who has had a really good year last year. I think that he's not always on the PGA Tour, plays some European Tour, plays some other tours, but he's in the tournament this week. I like him. You can probably bet him top 5 and get really great odds. I also like Zach Johnson, whose odds are awful. He's been terrible the last couple of years. This is a great place for him. It's a short
wedge player.
Exactly, great wedge player, plus 13,000. And then of course,
not bet $1 on that.
There is never a tournament that Hank LaBoida is in that I will not throw $1 on him at plus.
Hank LaBoida. Our guy.
Another guy that is just, for whatever reason, loved on all the betting sites this week is Hudson Swafford at plus 15,000. So definitely going to throw Harris English's lookalike a couple of bucks. We've gone an hour. I wish I could turn that off.
I have a question for both of you.
Hold on.
After you finish your whatever you're talking about.
Plus 5,000.
Good, man.
Horschel plus 45. I'm not off the co-crack train yet. Okay, at plus 4,500, we'll give him another shot. Cam Davis is a guy I really like this week at plus 6,000. Cam Davis is definitely getting a couple bucks from me this week. And who was my last guy here? Oh, Lanto Griffin, Keith Mitchell, and Gary Higo.
There's one guy that you just named like 20, 25 names, and you didn't mention this guy, and I am shocked because he played very well last weekend and made some runs up the leaderboard.
I know who you're going to say. Go ahead.
Eric Van Rooyen.
Yeah, he is on my
AVR, baby.
Yeah.
He is on.
I circled 6 names, I think, and he was one of them.
Those are the guys that I did research on that I ran through. Yeah. The guys I have highlighted on my list: Abraham Answer, Christian Benzutenhout, Corey Connors. He's really a good golfer. I just don't know how to say his last name. So I
know Suits gets Kevin Chappell, but okay.
Emiliano Grillo, Russell Henley, Harris English, Taylor Gooch, Lanto Griffin.
Joe says, Ty, get off that co-crack train. You heard the man. Knock it off.
Joe, he has 3 wins in the last year.
It's going to be my last week on the train, Joe. I can tell you that much. If he doesn't do
make a break, baby.
But yeah, I definitely have money on the mustache that Van Rooyen's throwing out there because,
mustache rides for all.
It is.
That man just has giant balls.
Why?
Sawyer, I want you to
powerful mustache. Yeah, I just don't feel the same about you.
I'm about to have Sawyer look at this list, and he's going to tell us in his own words who he thinks is a good pick to win.
I can tell you right now, Bryce Garnett's going to be in the hunt. And the odds will be for real. I don't mind Joel Damon as a pick this week.
I had him as a mark on mine.
Die. As far as I know.
That is incredible.
So this was my
I'm
question.
just kidding, Stuart. Thank you. I hope you live a long and prosperous life.
And I mean, we know Stuart's watching the podcast. It gets 100 views a week. You know, Stuart's like, I can't believe he said
right.
that.
Asshole.
Just in case, I'm gonna go out and say I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a lovely human being. Also, Cam Smith, I don't want you to die, even though you're a Tennessee stick up my ass.
Tennessee top hat, baby.
All right, Sawyer's got his picks here. I like Higo, Cam Davis, and Billy Horschel.
My man.
Good picks.
Here's another guy that I'm looking forward to just seeing at a tournament because the guy is just like a spirit animal for me sometimes on a weekend is Harry Higgs. Like, I mean, he's not going to be in the hunt. He maybe makes the top 20, but Pat Perez too. Like both those guys. Like if somebody told me like you had to pick B field players to fill a foursome and you could pick anybody from B fields, Harry Higgs and Pat Perez are going to be in my foursome.
Those are people I would have loved to hang out with when I was like 21, and now at like 27, like I'm already like don't relate to either of them anymore, and I'm like,
they're
older
both
than
20
me.
years.
I'm like, you're both well over me, which makes me be like, I don't want to associate with you.
No, they look like a really good time.
That's fine because like you're 18, like.
What are you trying to say? I'm almost 40 and I want to hang out with him.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're immature. Sad. 40 years old. He has a ridiculous mustache. And he wears his hat backwards. I don't know what else you want.
Mustache rides for everyone.
Everyone. Boop. All right. So that is the Sony Open, and let's move on. I think the next thing on the agenda this week was I put his scoring a problem as one of our topics. We kind of covered that already. Thank God that finally shut the fuck up. So is scoring a problem? We'll just put it out point blank. Matt, scoring a problem?
No, I love watching low scores. Truly, I think that's great. I love watching the best players shoot stupid low scores, and I know that not everyone's going to agree with that, but I think it's watching the best of a certain sport do what they do best. Like when Randy Johnson was striking out 300 people a year, did everybody go, "Oh, is strikeouts a problem?" No.
Yeah.
Right.
No one's complaining when Kobe goes off for 81.
Exactly.
Right. I feel the same. Scoring is not a problem. It was a quick one. Joe, if you're still watching, hey man, if you want to come on the podcast, we'll shoot you an invite, man.
Absolutely.
You're a lone commenter, and we fucking appreciate it. So, next thing was our tip of the week. So we've been making a weekly thing where we go around the circle and give everybody a tip, and we'll start with Matt today.
How about we start with Sawyer today? I mean, if you really want to talk about a really good young player, Sawyer is that, and I am not that. So Sawyer.
Your tip of the week, Sawyer.
For higher handicappers.
Staying active during the winter to not regress your golf game. Staying active and keeping it where it is or getting it better.
Whether that's dry swings, going to an indoor range, whatever that may be.
Just keep it going. Don't put it down for the winter.
I like it.
I love it. You got nothing?
You guys. I'm not at this tournament.
I'm going to piggyback off the email I received earlier, which is like know your game statistically. Like we had talked about this in the past, and we're talking about knowing your carry distances, which is huge, right? But the customer sends me an email with his distances. There's no, I don't know if it's carry distance, I don't know if it's total distance, but that's great. You hit 7-iron 185, but is your land angle proper? Is your spin? And you might need to see the pro at your course, talk to a fitter or something like that, but 185 with a 7-iron with 3,000 spin and a land angle of 30 isn't doing you a whole lot of good because assuming it's total, right?
Right.
It means he's probably carrying at 160 and it's rolling out to 185, which is not good. Now, if you're hitting your 7-iron 185 with 178 carry and 6,000 spin and a land angle of 47, yeah, like that's fantastic. And I mean, I know that's getting very technical, and some of the people watching this might be like, I have no idea what you just said.
Right.
But knowing your stats, like see somebody. Like if you have a question about your equipment, come see us. Go see your head pro. Be like, what do you see that, like, am I losing anything with my equipment? Because the answer might be no. The answer might be no. And you're where you need to be. You just need to go work on this, that, and the other. But there might be things like you're making a great pass of the golf ball. Your setup is just jacked up. And until you address that, it's going to be very hard to take a step forward. So if you have equipment that's over 5 years old, or if you even bought in the last 5 years and didn't get fit, go see somebody that knows how to analyze the numbers and be like, so you can at least just take that step and be like, yes, my equipment's right for me. No, my equipment's not, and then move forward from there.
That's a great tip. I mean, equipment and just knowing your game, having some realistic expectations. So I think one of the biggest issues I see with players is, you'll walk up to a 180-yard par 3 and somebody will be like, oh, I'm going to hit 7-iron here. Well, listen, I'm a 3 handicap. That's not a 7-iron for me, right? Like 180 yards is not an easy shot. If you're a 15 or 16 handicap, why wouldn't you hit like a 6 or a 5-iron and take out the option of not hitting it pure, because you're probably not, right?
I think I said that on a previous podcast, which is not, if I hit this pure, which is 1 out of 10 times. No, know your distances in the sense of like, all right, the likelihood of me doing said thing is very low. So let's put aside my pride. And,
But my tip of the week is grow your game outside of playing it. Okay, so there are great avenues to get better at golf mentally. And I don't think the mental game of golf gets stressed enough. So there are so many different ways to handle it and so many different styles of it. For me, I am a big feel guy. I've never taken a lesson in my life. And I've taught myself how to play with some help, obviously, from friends. But the mental side of the game is hugely important to me. And any book by Bob Rutella, you can go on Audible and download all of them, okay? And most of them are like a 2-hour listen. So like if you've got a 30-minute ride to work or something like that, I swear to God, it will change the way you look at the game as a high handicapper or even an amateur, okay? So just one of the simplest things that I had never thought about until I read Golf is Not a Game of Perfect was not taking mechanics onto the course. Mechanics are for the practice tee, right? If you're over on the range, you're working on stuff, go for it. But if it's a tournament day or a round day, the first 10 to 20 minutes of your warm-up session, fine, you can think about some mechanics, and then the last 10 to 15 minutes need to be target hunting. And then when you get on the course, there's no mechanics. Like you might be able to say to yourself, okay, I came out of that swing a little bit, but the whole goal is the second that you're over top of the ball, it's target, go, right? Like not sitting there going, oh God, make sure you keep your weight forward. Oh God, don't bend your lead arm. Like those can't be going through your head.
Can I piggyback quickly?
1 second.
Yes.
Those books are invaluable. I've read every one of them, and I reread them before the season starts. Like before we start playing outside regularly, I almost go through every one of them again, either when I'm exercising or whatever. They're just amazing.
Piggyback time. Matt Jones, from the time he gets up to the ball,
5 seconds. Less than
4 seconds. It was 4 seconds from.
We talked about it when you were helping a customer.
Yeah. Again, that's one of those things where the dude just shot 32 under in over 4 days in a tournament.
Yep.
And 4 seconds. And that's.
And apparently played golf for about 15 minutes of that time.
I mean, it's just. It's ridiculous.
No, it's awesome. I love that approach. The more time you give yourself over the ball, the more time, especially if you're like me and you suck, and more time you stand over the ball, you just start thinking about other stuff,
Yep.
And I've gotten really good at it. I know when I start getting a little bit more mechanical, and I'm like, oh, wait, you got to take a step back, stop it, right? I mean, I do it in here. Like we'll be hitting on the bay in here. You'll see me. Like I'll look up at the screen, and I'm literally going target, ball, and go. That's just the general shot routine for me. But that's
getting yourself in a good rhythm. That's right. It's smart to practice the same way that you play.
Yep, absolutely. All right, last thing on the board is golf talk. So I think what we'll do today, get your sweater off. We'll talk about what we're wearing. So we don't always do stuff like this, but got to get on camera. Tommy, what do you got on today?
What do we got? I got the yellow
PTP.
PTP Travis Matthew, or PTP being our logo, but Travis Matthew top. Adidas blue pants. Adidas not particularly warm, so not the best for this weather, but extremely flexible. Can do everything I want to do on a golf course in it. I think I got like a next gen belt on those cut the length belts.
Nice.
But yeah, there you go.
The reason we're doing this week is I was having a blast watching the TOC and seeing the new hats and just some of the new stuff out. Like I thought Rom was sweating his balls off on Sunday. It was just the shirt.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like
That's Travis Matthew.
Yeah, they finally got like a close up of him. Like, oh no, it's just like a two-tone shirt that kind of look like it's like you can like
splotchy almost.
Right, yeah. Matt, what do you got on today? You're flashy.
So I got Bad Birdie on as I usually wear on the course. Primo joggers, Adidas tour belt, which is funny because it's also cut to length. But Bad Birdie, big fan. We're bringing him in March.
I didn't have to cut mine nuts to length, but yeah.
But yeah, Bad Birdie, check him out. Bad Birdie, check him out. We're bringing him in March here.
Actually, Primo too. We're looking. I mean, we're in conversations with Primo about bringing them in too. So we'll see.
Beautiful. Primo joggers, truly the most comfortable golf pants I've ever worn. I can see myself wearing these on course, off course, pretty much anywhere.
And when you're a stick like Matt, that look pretty good on him versus a blob like me.
All right, I'm wearing William Murray collection. So this was a Christmas gift from my sister. I'm pretty pumped about it. It's got a bunch of beers on it, which if anybody knows me knows that's kind of my style. I'm wearing
beer is your style.
Absolutely. Wearing 686 pants, so they're not really renowned for golf pants. I love them for golf. They are super flexible, super stretchy, waterproof, wicking. You can wear them in all conditions. I want them to be a golf pant. I want to buy about 25 pairs of them, but they're a little pricey. But 686 pants, check them out. Like I think the ones I'm wearing right now are called the Anything pants. They don't have a huge selection in colors, but they are super comfortable. They have a nice taper to them, so they're almost like joggers in a way. And then I'm wearing a white Lucky belt that I bought here at the store about 10 years ago.
Oh, and I forgot. I'm also wearing True Links golf shoes. You have to check those out. First of all, I've played with them golfing. I wear them predominantly as a store shoe. I think they retail for like $100, so not overly expensive. This was the like white gray. Almost every white mesh shoe I've gotten looks black in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wearing these consistently for like 3 months, and they've hardly changed in color. So if you're looking for,
it's true. He wore them to the weight room a couple of times, and I've noticed that they haven't gotten any dirtier.
So yeah, they spikeless, reasonable price points, very comfortable. Colors don't seem to fade much or collect too much dirt. Check those guys out for sure. We don't carry them here. I don't know if we plan on it or not. We're already pretty heavy in shoes as it is, but definitely worth a look. So
Sawyer, get that fresh shirt in there.
I got a Peter Millar Masters shirt on, the good old Under Armour pants and Under Armour belt.
There we go. Bang bang.
Sawyer's our resident high school
intern.
bomber.
He's the store intern.
That hits at 330 yards.
Yeah.
What else do we want to talk about, boys, before we sign off? Anything?
I was just gonna say I had another like fitting scenario where I wanted to talk about, which was if you're gonna come get fit, have an open mind, and I don't just mean to a brand, I mean to a style. Don't come to a putter fitting and say I'm a blade guy. Okay, like we haven't even hit a putt yet. I've not seen the shape of your stroke. We have not put you on laser with the mirror. We haven't done anything yet. We had a great instance the other day. We had a really great fitting. We're doing for an Adele fitting. I know we've talked a lot about them on our social media, but we got such a great setup for him. Get to the end of it, he's like, "Can I get it in a blade though?" And I'm like, "Well, that kind of throws everything off." He's like, "Okay, well, I want that putter then," which is like totally unrelated to what we were doing. And cool, like we still sold a putter, but like it was not ideal. But then, like, likewise, when you come into a fitting, don't be like, well, I only play blades or I only, whatever. Like, let the numbers and the statistics tell you what you are. Don't come in with a predetermined setup. So.
That is the best advice that anybody who's looking to buy clubs or improve their game through their equipment, you need to listen to that.
That doesn't mean don't do research. Right. Don't have an idea. Like, do research. Have an idea what you might like or you think you might like. And have an idea of price before you come in.
Well, I mean, Ted's the perfect example.
Yeah.
He comes in, he's like, I would only buy Titleist. It's like, Ted, you're a 22 handicap. Why wouldn't you play whatever you hit best here?
Regardless of handicap, why wouldn't you play whatever you hit best?
Fair, but like, I mean, as a 22 handicap, you may not want to stick with Titleist because maybe that's holding you back a little. Maybe not.
Dan is a perfect example, but he's, and I'm saying this in a positive sense for him, is when we met, he's like, I only play blades. I was like, why? Well, like, people, like, there's nothing more impressive than when you roll up to the course and you see a guy with blades. I'm like, that's absolutely not true. I've never thought about that once.
I never look at anybody else's bag.
But now this year, he finally, I was like, damn, look, you're a great ball striker. You're not the longest guy, and you're holding yourself back by giving yourself a club that does absolutely nothing for you.
Well, I mean, that's the boat that I'm in right now.
And now he's moving into a mid-cavity iron, which I'm very excited to see how he plays this year. I think he takes a big step forward in this game because he's actually going to hit a 4-iron more than 200 yards, and he can actually get – and, he doesn't miss the ball very much, but that little bit he's off is not going to hardly make any difference now with these. So I'm excited to see somebody who's finally like, no, I only play blades, finally be like, okay, maybe I should look at another option. Hopefully sees a huge jump forward.
Well, like we said, my wife doesn't watch this podcast, thank God, because she got me my clubs, and I love them dearly. But they certainly hold me back distance-wise. Like, me playing blades is not the perfect setup for me.
1, 2, 2, 3.
Tommy's going to have me in new irons before I know it. And
I was going to say, I'll fit you right now.
I don't know where I'm going to get the money to pay for them, but we'll make it work somehow.
Yeah,
right. Anyway, as always, we're gonna sign off on that note. As always, I want to thank Tommy for letting us host the podcast here at Pull the Pin in Lancaster, where come and get fit, get your apparel, buy your shoes. Adele putters, they're sweet unless you're left-handed.
Yeah.
And
we didn't want you to have one anyway, Ty.
No, I'd love one. But anyway, and always, we'd like to thank the Painted Lines for letting us use their YouTube format platform to throw our podcast out there. Check us out on Spotify. It'll be up by tomorrow morning. And honestly, shoot us some messages on Twitter at PTP2021 or at
go follow us on our socials. We're at 669 followers on Instagram. We'd like to get to 700. Nice. And we're just short of 1,500 followers on Facebook. We'd love to get to that soon too. So we're always we're posting content every single day, whether it's often about what's going on here at the store, we're getting new product in every day. So, I know everyone's been asking me, when are you going to get the stuff? Probably January 15th, around that. But we'll be posting about it on all our socials. So if you want to stay up to date with your local fitting facility here in Lancaster and all the things we have to offer you, the best way to do that is just to follow us on social media because we're very, very active on there. We post some funny stuff. We post a lot about product that's in. We talk about swing tips. We talk about this kind of stuff. So make sure you give us a follow there at Pull the Pin Length on both Facebook and Instagram. So.
We also have a betting Facebook page as well now. So anything that we talk about bet-wise, I go back through the podcast, I dissect it, and I throw up basically what we bet and who we bet.
Your Twitter's on our website.
Oh.
Yeah, we have links to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and it goes to your Twitter or it goes to the Pull the Pin podcast.
The Facebook.
I did not know that until recently.
Gotta thank the webmaster for me.
I hope you're doing good things on there.
I am. Everything's all golf. I mean, the porno sites I visit on Twitter are usually on some other account.
Isn't it just every Twitter account?
Right. All right. Shoot us some messages. Let us know what you want us to talk about in weeks to come. As always, for Tommy, Matt, Ty, and Sawyer in the background, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Boop.